The twin suns were hot above the desert sky of Zarnuk 4. Dust hung in the air like smoke. The streets were loud, dirty, and full of strange smells. Ethan Rook, a human explorer, walked slowly through the crowd. His boots crunched over cracked stone. He pulled his scarf tighter to block the smell of blood and fear. This was Kargan Slave Market, one of the darkest places in the galaxy. Aliens shouted in sharp, rough voices. Cages lined the walkways. Inside them were beings from many worlds, some quiet, some crying, others completely silent. Ethan hated this place. But he had come looking for old maps, maybe ancient tech. That was all. He wasn't here to save anyone. Then he heard her voice. It was soft, but cut through the noise like a knife. It stopped him mid-step. "Buy my chains and break them, please. I'll give you strong children." Ethan turned. At first he didn't see her. Just a group of traders near a metal cage. But then there she was, kneeling, chained. An alien woman. Tall, thin, but powerful in shape. Her silver skin was bruised. Her long black hair hung over her face. But her eyes, when they met his, were alive. Burning with something between sorrow and fire, she looked right at him. "You are human," she whispered. "You are free. You can choose? Please, choose me." Ethan blinked. He had heard of this species, Tharkanians, known for strength, rare genetics, and long life. Many in the galaxy paid good money to use them as fighters or breeders. He hated that word. The trader noticed Ethan staring. "Fine specimen." The alien seller grinned, showing yellow teeth. "Just captured." "Former soldier, mouthy, but the body? Prime. She can give you 3 children by season's end. Big, strong ones." Ethan clenched his fists. He looked back at her. Her wrists were bleeding where the chains dug in. She did not look afraid. She looked tired, and something else. Hope. "Why me?" Ethan asked her quietly. "Why ask me to buy you?" The woman didn't blink. "Because the others laugh or stare." You paused. "You heard me. That is rare." He stood there in silence. This wasn't his fight. He wasn't a hero. He didn't come here to start trouble. But now he couldn't leave. Not after that voice. Not after those words. "Buy my chains and break them." "Price?" Ethan asked the trader. 10,000 credits. That's too high. Not for this one. She's strong. Can fight, breed, cook. "I'm not buying a tool," Ethan said coldly. "I'll pay 5. The trader hissed, but something in Ethan's eyes made him pause. He knew humans. Most were soft. But this one had scars on his face and hands. He looked like someone who had killed before. 7. Done. The deal was made. Ethan transferred the credits. The trader unlocked the cage with a growl. The alien woman's chains clinked as she stood. She swayed, weak from hunger, but held her head high. Ethan reached out a hand. "Can you walk?" She nodded. "Yes, master." "Don't call me that." He put a blanket over her shoulders. The trader laughed behind them. As they walked away. Ethan whispered, "What's your name?" "Kayla." "I'm Ethan. You're safe now." "No," she said, her voice low. "Not yet." "But I believe you want me to be." They slipped into the crowd and vanished from the market. Back on his old freighter ship, Ethan sat Kayla down and brought her food. She ate slowly, with manners, though she had clearly been starving. He could see old wounds on her back. "Whip. Marks, burns." He said nothing. He just let her eat. Finally, she looked up at him. "Why did you save me? Was it my offer?" "About children?" Ethan shook his head. "No, it was your voice. It cut through everything. It wasn't weak. It was real." Kayla stared at him. No one had ever said that to her. He stood. "You rest. Tomorrow we'll get those chains off." She touched the metal cuffs on her wrists. "They are not just metal. They are inside me too." Ethan looked confused, but Kayla only said, "You. We'll see." She lay down, closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, dreamed of freedom. The hum of Ethan's ship, the Nomad's hope, filled the silence. Kayla sat on a small bench near the engine room. A blanket covered her shoulders, but her silver skin still showed bruises. Her eyes were open, sharp, and watching everything. Ethan worked nearby, pretending not to stare, but he was. He didn't understand her, this woman who offered herself in exchange for freedom. He finally spoke. Kayla, where are you from? She didn't answer at first. She touched the metal collar on her neck. Then she said, I come from the mountain world of Tharkesh. Cold winds, tall peaks, strong people. You were a soldier? Yes, I led warriors, fought off invaders, protected my clan. She looked away. Until they sold me, Ethan frowned. Why would your own people sell you? Kayla's jaw tightened. Her voice was flat. Because I was too strong, too proud. The men feared me. The council called me dangerous. They made a deal with slavers. Sold me for technology and gold. She looked him in the eye. On my own world, I was a hero, but power frightens the weak. Ethan said nothing. He just listened. Her pain wasn't just physical, it was deep, buried in years of betrayal. Kayla stood slowly and walked over to a wall mirror. She touched her reflection. When I looked like this, they cheered. When I bled for them, they sang. But when I questioned the elders, when I asked why they sold girls for politics, I became a problem. Her hand dropped. I woke up in a cage, she whispered. Ethan stepped closer. You're not in a cage now. No, but I still feel the bars ... here. She tapped her temple. They did more than sell me. They implanted something inside me. Implant? Ethan asked. Kayla nodded. A control device. Pain if I resist orders. Pain if I run. Pain if I think of revenge. She reached behind her neck, pressed a spot. A tiny red light blinked beneath the skin. I cannot remove it. If I try, it will kill me. Ethan stared. That's barbaric. She looked at him. It is effective. There was a silence between them. The ship beeped softly, lights blinking overhead. Then Kayla said, You ask why I chose you. Why I begged you to buy me. Ethan nodded. Kayla stepped closer. Her voice softened. Because humans ... strange. Some are cruel, but some, they still believe in choice, in mercy. She sat down across from him. The moment you looked at me, I knew you were different. Ethan smiled a little. I just didn't like seeing a warrior on her knees. Kayla's lips twitched. Maybe it was the beginning of a smile. Maybe not. He stood. We'll find a way to remove that implant. Kayla looked up, doubtful. Even if you do ... I am still wanted property. My face is on bounty boards across 5 systems. You could be hunted for helping me. Ethan shrugged. Let them try. Kayla tilted her head. You would risk your life for someone you don't even know? I didn't need to know you. I just needed to know one thing. What? That you wanted to be free. They looked at each other in silence. Something passed between them. An understanding, quiet but strong. Later that night, Kayla woke up gasping. Sweat covered her skin. Her hands trembled. Ethan ran in. Are you okay? She sat up slowly. A dream, a memory. Tell me, he said. Kayla took a deep breath. I was back in my home, the Hall of Blades. My clan was celebrating my victory in battle. I thought they were proud, but one by one, they left the hall, until I was alone. Then the floor opened beneath me and I fell into darkness. She looked at him. I've been falling ever since. Ethan sat beside her. Then maybe it's time you climbed out? Kayla nodded slowly. Maybe with help. The next morning, Ethan brought tools to examine her implant. She lay still while he scanned her neck. A screen blinked. It's deep, he said. Military grade. But I might be able to block the signal, not remove it yet. But stop the pain. Commands? Kayla gripped the bench tightly. Try. He adjusted the tool. Lights flickered. Then Kayla cried out and collapsed. Ethan caught her. Kayla! She gasped, eyes wide as her body shook. Then silence. Her body relaxed. She opened her eyes slowly. The pain. It's gone, she whispered. Ethan smiled. I think I jammed it. Kayla sat up carefully. You broke the first lock. There will be more. I know, she said. But now I have a chance. She looked at Ethan again. You didn't just buy my chains, you started breaking them. Ethan stood. Then let's finish the job. The sky outside the ship was black. Stars drifted like cold sparks across the dark window. Inside the Nomad's Hope, the air was quiet, but heavy. Kayla sat alone in the medbay, staring at her wrists. The metal cuffs still locked around them, cold and tight. Even though the implant's pain signals were blocked now, the weight of those cuffs felt just as heavy as the day she was sold. Ethan walked in, carrying a small case of tools. "Sleep any?" Kayla shook her head. "I don't rest well, not yet." Ethan sat beside her and opened the case. "I think I can cut off the cuffs today. Might take a little heat, though." Kayla looked at him. "You can remove the metal." "But what about the chains you can't see?" Ethan paused. "You mean the implant?" Kayla slowly shook her head. "Not just that. I mean the fear, the shame, the memory of crawling on the floor while others watched and laughed. The voice in my head saying, 'You are property now,' that voice is louder than the implant ever was." Ethan didn't know what to say. He wasn't a therapist. He was just a man who hated slavery. So he said the only thing that felt true. "Then let's break those chains too. One at a time." He held up a small laser cutter. "Let me start with these." Kayla extended her arms without speaking. The cutter sparked, metal hissed, one cuff clicked open. Then the other. They fell to the floor with a loud clang. Kayla stared at her wrists. For a moment she didn't move. Then slowly she rubbed the skin. "I forgot how it feels to be free here," she whispered, touching her arms. "Even if just a little," Ethan nodded. "That's step 2. Kayla looked at him. "How many steps do you think this will take?" Ethan smiled slightly. "As many as it takes. I've got time." Hours later they sat in the cockpit. Ethan showed her a map of nearby systems. "I found something," he said. "A lab outpost. Old Tharkanian design, abandoned. Maybe there's tech inside that can help us remove the implant safely." Kayla raised an eyebrow. "How far?" 3 jumps through back routes. 2 days if nothing goes wrong." Kayla's voice grew tense. "And if it does? Then we fight or run, same as always." She stared at the screen, then said quietly, "I'm tired of running." Ethan looked at her. "Then don't stand with me." Kayla gave him a long look. "You act like I'm not dangerous." "I know you're dangerous," he said with a smirk. "That's why I want you on my side." That night, while Ethan slept in the control chair, Kayla walked quietly to the storage bay. She found a crate marked "Field Armor, Human Use." She opened it. Inside was Ethan's old combat armor, worn, scuffed, real. She touched the chest plate. A small dent had blood around it. Her fingers brushed over it gently. She whispered, "You fought too." A memory surfaced of her own armor, once shining with honor. Her people had stripped it away before selling her. Now she was finding pieces of herself again. She stood straight and walked back. The next morning, alarms blared. "Warning, incoming. Scan detected." Ethan jumped up, pressing buttons. "Damn, we're being pinged." Kayla appeared beside him. "Who is it?" "Looks like a bounty drone. They found us." Kayla cursed under her breath. "They're fast." Ethan activated cloaking, but the drone had already sent a signal. "It tagged our location," Ethan said. "We have minutes before they send someone." Kayla's eyes narrowed. "Then we go now." Ethan turned the ship sharply, engines roaring as they raced toward the jump gate. But Kayla was quiet. Too quiet. "What is it?" Ethan asked. She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "They will never stop until I am dead. Or back in chains." "Then we make sure neither happens," Ethan said, looking right at her. Kayla's eyes held. "A fire now, then I fight. Not just to escape, but to destroy the ones who made me this way." They made the first jump. The ship trembled, then steadied, but in the dark. As Ethan checked the controls, Kayla went to the med-bay. She looked at her reflection again. But this time she didn't see a slave. She saw a survivor. "A warrior with new scars," she whispered. To herself, "They chained my body, then they chained my mind. But now someone is helping me remember who I really am." She ran her hand over her bare wrists. "I will never wear chains again." From the hallway, Ethan called, "Kayla, we're almost there." She turned and walked out with calm steps. But her heart was burning with a new strength. She wasn't saved. She was rising. Asterisk. The stars turned cold and sharp as the Nomad's Hope dropped out of jump space. The ship rattled gently as the engines cooled. On the screen ahead, a small dead moon floated gray, cracked, and silent. It looked empty. Perfect for hiding. Ethan leaned back in the pilot's chair, stretching his arms. We'll stay here a while. Let things cool off. Kayla stood behind him, arms crossed. You really think they'll stop looking for me? No, but I think we bought some time. They won't expect us to land on a rock with no life signs. Kayla walked over to the window and stared at the barren moon. You're clever. That's dangerous. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Dangerous how? She looked at him. The kind of dangerous I trust. Hours passed. Ethan worked on the ship's nav systems while Kayla repaired her strength. She trained in the cargo bay's low movements, stretching, quiet breathing. Her body was healing fast. Her mind, slower. Then a sharp beep echoed across the ship. Incoming transmission. Ethan ran to the control panel. Kayla followed. Who is it? Ethan didn't answer right away. He stared at the screen, his face hardened. Bounty alert, human. Ethan Rook wanted for slave theft reward, 100,000. Credits dead or alive, do not approach without full weapons ready. Kayla stared in shock. They put a bounty on you? Ethan's voice was calm but cold. They think I stole you. You did? Kayla said quietly, but not for chains. Ethan turned off the alert. They want me dead now. That's new. Kayla stepped closer. I can leave. You don't have to keep running because of me. Ethan looked at her, eyes firm. You think I'm running from them? I'm not. I'm running with you. There's a difference. Later, Kayla sat in the back of the ship, thinking. She held a small tool in her hand, twisting it slowly. Her mind returned to the past, her people, her betrayal, the chains. Then the voice of a guard echoed in her head. You are property now. Your choices are over. But Ethan had given her choice again. She gripped the tool tighter. She would never go back. That night, while they tried to sleep, Ethan heard Kayla's voice from the next room. Do you think I'm broken? Ethan stood and walked to her doorway. She sat on the floor, legs crossed, staring at the floor. No, he said. I think you were bent. But not broken. Kayla looked up. The implant is still there. So are the nightmares. That doesn't mean. You're broken. Then what am I? Ethan sat beside her. You're someone who survived hell and is still fighting? That makes you stronger than most. Kayla looked at him. Do you always talk like this, like a hero from old human stories? He smiled. I'm not a hero. I just hate seeing chains on good people. Suddenly, the ship's sensors screamed. Warning. Ship detected. 2 minutes to CO and TSC. Ethan jumped to the controls. Kayla followed. Who is it? Unknown ship, fast, coming right for us? Kayla's eyes narrowed. Bounty hunters. Ethan grabbed the flight stick. Strap in, we're moving. The Nomad's hope lifted off the dead moon, engines roaring. But the enemy ship was faster, sleek, red and armed. The hunter fired. Explosions shook the ship. Ethan cursed. Shields at 60%. We can't take many hits? Kayla stood behind him, steady. Let me go to the turret. You sure? I've fought before, remember? She disappeared down the hall. Moments later, the turret guns powered up. Kayla sat in the chair, eyes focused. Hands steadied. As the enemy ship circled, she aimed. Boom, boom, boom. Direct hits. The red ship swerved. Damaged, but still coming. Ethan yelled, One more pass! Hold it! Kayla exhaled slowly. Then fired again. The red ship burst into flames and tumbled into the moon's surface. Silence. Ethan laughed, breathing hard. That was incredible. Kayla's voice came through the cum. Told you I was dangerous. Later, they repaired the ship in silence. The damage was light, but the message was loud and clear. They were being hunted. And it wouldn't stop. Ethan placed a hand on the cracked wall. They'll send more. Kayla nodded. Then we hit back. He looked at her. You're not afraid anymore. I am, she said softly. But I'm more afraid of being owned again. She stood taller. And I'm done hiding. That night, they both sat near the ship's power core, watching the soft glow. Kayla spoke first. They called me property. Sold me like meat. Told me I was only useful for breeding. Ethan said nothing. Kayla looked at him. But when you looked at me, you didn't see a slave. You saw me, Ethan nodded. I saw someone worth saving. She touched her chest. Now I see her too. She stood up. Let's finish this. Let's find that lab. Let's remove the rest of the chains. Ethan grinned. Now you're talking like a hero, Kayla smiled faintly. I'm not a hero. I'm just tired of being silent. The stars ahead blinked as the Nomad's hope reached the final stretch. Below them floated a giant wreck, the lost Tharkanian research lab. Broken and silent in orbit around a dead world. Ethan adjusted the controls. There it is, Kayla stood beside him. Her eyes locked onto the old station. It's still here, she said quietly. I didn't think it would be. You know this place? Yes, Kayla whispered. It's where they made the warriors. Ethan glanced at her. You were made here? I was chosen here. They tested our strength, our blood, our will. They built warriors, then sold the ones they feared. Ethan's voice dropped. Like you. Kayla nodded. He powered the ship toward the broken docking. Ring, let's go see if your past left us any hope. Inside, the station was cold and dark. Light flickered through cracked panels. Rust floated in the air like dust. Kayla led the way through narrow halls. Her memory guided her through twists and steel doors. She stopped in front of a sealed lab marked in her native symbols. Biotech Room 7, Ethan checked the lock. Still powered. Think it has what we need. Kayla hesitated. Yes, but it also has ghosts. They opened the door. Inside were machines, tubes, and dark screens. Along the walls, old stasis pods stood empty except for one. Kayla walked to it slowly. She stared at the glass. Inside was another Tharkanian woman. Frozen. Her eyes closed, her body scarred. Who is she? Ethan asked. Kella's voice was hollow. My sister. Ethan's breath caught. They froze her? They said she was too angry. Too wild. They wanted to fix her before selling. Kayla touched the glass. They never woke her. Ethan rested a hand on her shoulder. We'll wake her one day, after we free you. Kayla stepped back. Let's find the implant control unit. They searched the room, and Ethan found the control panel. He connected his tablet and ran a scan. I found your implant's code. It's complex. But if I override it here, it'll burn out the chip. Kayla nodded. Do it. I need you to lie down, Ethan said, pointing to a medical bed. Kayla obeyed. Her face was calm, but her fingers were tight on the metal frame. This might hurt. I felt worse. Ethan activated the sequence. At first. Nothing happened. Then Kayla screamed. Her body shook as sparks ran down her spine. Her eyes rolled. Back. Ethan panicked. Kayla, talk to me. She didn't answer. The lights flickered. The machines beeped louder. Then, silence. Kayla's body stopped moving. Ethan leaned over her. No, stay with me, Kayla. Her eyes snapped open. She gasped. Deep, sharp, like taking her first breath again, and then she smiled. It's gone, she whispered. The pain, the voice, it's gone. Ethan exhaled with relief. We did it. Kayla sat up slowly. No, you did it. Ethan gave her a hand. I told you, one step at a time. But peace didn't last long. The station's alarm suddenly blared. Intruder alert, Sector 7. Ethan's eyes widened. Someone's here? Kayla grabbed a nearby staff. Bounty hunters? Ethan checked the feed. 2 ships docked. At least 6 life signs. They followed us. Kayla's voice was sharp now, focused. No more running, she said. Ethan nodded. Let's make them regret this. The fight came fast. The bounty hunters moved through the station like sharks armored. Armed and confident, they expected Kayla to be weak. She was not. She dropped from the ceiling like a shadow, slamming her staff into the first attacker's helmet. It cracked. The second raised his blaster, but Ethan shot first. 3 more charged. Kayla spun, kicked, struck. Every move was precise, fluid, beautiful, and deadly. One bounty hunter tried to grab her from behind. Kayla roared a sound from deep in her chest and snapped his arm with one twist. Ethan watched in awe. This was not a slave. This was a warrior reborn. They cleared the hall. The last enemy ran terrified. Kayla didn't chase him. She stood still, breathing hard, staring at her hands. Ethan approached. You okay? She nodded slowly. I remembered who I was in battle, he smiled. You're more than what they tried to make you. She looked at him with new strength. They tried to break me. But you made me rise, Ethan said. Nothing, but in his eyes she saw the truth. Not pity. Respect. Back on the ship, Kayla sat quietly. Her wrists were bare, her back was straight. She felt lighter. Ethan handed her a drink. We're not safe yet. They'll keep coming, Kayla nodded. Let them come, Ethan smirked. That's what I like to hear. She looked at him. Do you know what I really gave you when I said I'd give you strong children? He blinked. What? Kayla stood tall. I gave you a chance to build something powerful, a future, not just bodies. A bond stronger than chains, a legacy of freedom. That's what I meant. Ethan was quiet, then he said, then I'll protect that. Future with everything I've got. Asterisk, the stars outside looked brighter now. As if the universe was finally listening, inside the Nomad's hope, Kayla stood in front of the mirror in the medbay. For the first time in years, her reflection didn't look like a prisoner. No collar. No chains, no fear, only strength. She traced a finger along the lines of her face. She had been called a weapon, a prize, a product. But now she saw herself again a woman. A leader, a survivor. Ethan walked in quietly. We're almost at the edge of Tharkanian space. Kayla turned to him. I need to tell you what I really meant back at the slave market. When I said I'd give you strong children, Ethan tilted his head. You don't have to explain. I do, she said softly. You need to know, it wasn't a trick or a desperate offer, it was a promise. She sat down, her eyes steady. In my world, we believe in legacy. Not just blood, but what we leave behind. A warrior's child is not born to fight. They are born to remember, to rise higher than the one before. That's strength. Ethan listened, silent and still. Kayla continued. I saw something in you that day, in the market. You weren't looking for a slave. You were looking for something real. Even if you didn't know it, she looked him in the eye. I wanted to give you strong children, not just with my body, but with my choice. My will, my belief in the future we could build. Ethan swallowed. That's more powerful than anything I imagined. Kayla nodded. Because it wasn't about survival. It was about hope. Later, as they prepared to leave the dead sector, Kayla entered the command room with purpose in her step. I've made a decision, she said. Ethan turned from the screen. About what? My sister, the one in the cryopod. Ethan stood. You want to bring her here? No, Kayla said. I want to wake her. Ethan looked uncertain. Is it safe? She was always fierce, more than me even, but she never had a choice. She was frozen before she could fight back. Ethan nodded slowly. Then let's give her that choice now. They returned to the station. It was quiet, almost peaceful now that the bounty hunters were gone. Kayla walked straight to the cryo room. Her sister, Sierra, floated in the frozen mist. Her eyes still closed, her body thin but whole. Kayla touched the control pad. Wake up. Cycle started. Ethan stood beside her. Are you ready? No, Kayla whispered. But I will be. The machine beeped. Steam hissed. The glass slid open. Sierra gasped and fell forward right into Kayla's arms. Sierra, it's me. Sierra's eyes blinked rapidly. Kayla, is this a dream? No, you're free now. Sierra looked around, confused. Where is the lab? Where are the guards? Gone forever. Sierra trembled. I thought I was dead. Kayla held her tighter. We're alive, and we're never going back. Back on the ship, Sierra rested. She slept deeply, peacefully. It would take time for her body to recover. Kayla sat next to her bunk, quiet and thoughtful. Ethan approached. You did it. You saved her. Kayla looked at him. I had to. She was the last piece of my past. I couldn't leave her frozen. Ethan smiled. You're not just breaking chains anymore. You're healing hearts. Kayla chuckled softly. Careful. Say things like that, and I might believe I'm human. He leaned on the wall. You're more than human. You're Kayla. She looked up at him. And what are you? Just the guy lucky enough to be beside you. They shared a look, warm, real, that night, while stars drifted by outside. Kayla stood in the observation deck alone. She touched her stomach lightly. A quiet thought bloomed in her heart. Could I really create life now that I'm finally free? For the first time in her life, she wasn't thinking about orders, implants, or battle plans. She was thinking about the future, a real one, with Ethan, with peace, maybe even with children, but not because someone commanded it, not because her genes were valuable, but because she chose it, because it would mean something, because it would be hers. The next morning, she joined Ethan in the cockpit. He was sipping hot tea. Watching the sensors, she sat beside him, quiet for a moment, then said, "I'm not afraid of the bounty anymore." Ethan nodded. "Because you know who you are now?" "No," she said. "Because I know who we are." She looked at him with full honesty. "You saved me, Ethan, but more than that, you trusted me. You gave me my name back, my voice, my will." Ethan said, "You gave me something too. You gave me purpose again. You gave me a reason to fight." She reached for his hand. He took it. "Whatever comes next," she said, "we face it together." He nodded. Together. And somewhere in the dark, the stars blinked in silent approval. The news spread fast across the galaxy. The slave market on Zarnok 4 was gone. Burned to the ground. Ships belonging to a secret auction ring destroyed, records erased. Rich traders who bought lives in the dark now hunted. No one knew who was behind it, but whispers spoke of a human and an alien woman, a human who broke her chains. Inside the nomad's hope. Kayla stood in her armor new, black, lined with her people's ancient markings. Her long hair was tied back, her silver skin glowing under the soft lights. Beside her stood Sira, her sister, now stronger, fully recovered. She wore a blade across her back, and in front of them was Ethan, ready to fly into enemy space. "This is it," he said. "The final piece." Kayla nodded. "The clan that sold me is still alive, still trading people, still calling themselves rulers." Sira added, "And they still wear the same false honor they used to chain us." Kayla looked at Ethan. "Are you ready to fight beside me one last time?" He smirked. Wasn't planning to watch from the sidelines. They shared a look, one full of history, pain, fire, and love. The final target was Tharkesh Prime, Kala's birth world. High mountains pierced the sky. Cities clung to cliffs. The air was thin, cold, and proud like the people who ruled it. They landed just outside the council fortress, once Kala's home, the same place where her fate was sealed. Now, she returned not as a prisoner, but as a storm they walked through. The stone halls, their boots echoing like drums of war. Guards rushed forward. Kayla didn't even raise her voice. Stand aside or be remembered as cowards who protected slavers. One by one, the guards backed away. Fear or respect. It didn't matter. The doors to the High Council chamber opened. Inside sat the old clan leaders, those who had sold her. The eldest stood. "Kayla Tharn, you were banished." She stepped forward. "You didn't banish me, you betrayed me. And now I return to end you." The council laughed. Then stopped when Sarah threw a metal collar on the floor. It clanged like thunder. Kayla pointed to it. "This was on my neck. You all approved it." The eldest shouted, "You were dangerous. You challenged our order." Kayla's voice was calm. "No, I challenged your cruelty, your fear, your lies." Ethan stepped forward, holding up a device. "This contains every name, every transaction, every person you sold." The room went silent. Sira added, "The galaxy will know what you are." The eldest sneered, "You have no right to judge us." Kayla looked at him, eyes glowing with power. "I don't need the right. I have the truth." She raised her hand. The recording played a recording of her as a warrior, young and proud, begging the council not to send girls to the slave traders. They had ignored her. Now, everyone would hear it. One by one, the council members stood and walked out. Cowards without their power, only the eldest remained. He spat on the floor. "You think this changes anything?" Kayla walked up to him. Face to face. "I don't want your seat. I don't want revenge. I just want no more chains. She turned away. You are nothing now, the old leader hissed. She didn't turn back. I was nothing. Now I am free. They left the fortress as the skies above filled with ships' news vessels, rebel groups, former slaves. Kala's message had spread, and the galaxy had listened. Back on the ship, as the engines warmed, Kala stood beside Ethan. I did what I came to do, she said softly. Ethan smiled. You didn't just break chains, you broke an empire. She looked at him with calm eyes. I couldn't have done it alone. He shrugged. I just bought a cage. You were the one who escaped it. Kala stepped closer. You were the only one who heard my voice when I had nothing left? That's not something I forget. Ethan looked down, shy for once. So, what now? She took his hand. Now we build what? Kala smiled. A life, a legacy, something worth protecting. They stood side by side, watching the stars move. Her sister walked in with a small plant growing in a metal pot. Kaela raised an eyebrow. What's this? Sarah grinned. Hope found it in the ruins. Figured we should grow something now? Kala touched the tiny leaves. Yes, she said. Let's grow everything they tried to take from us. And so, the warrior woman who was once sold, the human who heard her cry, and the sister they tried to silence. Set course not for war but for home, a new one with no cages. No collars, only stars, freedom, and the promise of strong children born not from force but from love.